So you have this data set, and your boss asks you to give some insight as far as where most of these orders are coming from, right? Like, give me some detail on the city and state that these orders are coming from. Well, at this point right now, you don't have any details as far as what city or state is the customer located in. So you'd have to look at another data table for that detail, right? So let's assume you figure out where that data table is, and you figure out it's called the customer details table. So the customer details table has 4 columns. It has the customer ID, customer name, the city, and then the state of where the customer is located. So what we want to do is basically bring over the city and state details from this table and match it to each customer in the orders table, right? So in order to do that, we'll have to find the common column between both tables. And here, the orders table has this customer number column, which is very similar to this customer ID column from the customer detail table. So since we have these matching columns, what we can do is we can use these as our think about it as like a key. Like it's how we translate this table to this table, right? So let's get started. It's a little easier to see in practice than it is just trying to explain it in words, right? So let's bring over the city and let's bring over the state details, right? And I'll color these gray because we know, just to keep in mind, that we're bringing these in from the other table. They're like appended to this data table, right? So to get started, we'll do equals, and from here you can either type out Vlookup, right? Add your arguments and then close out your Vlookup, hit enter, right? But what I find easier is if you hit the equal sign, right? And you go up here to the function bar, to the left of it, you have this little functions field over here. If you click on it, mine is already set to Vlookup because that's what I typically work with. If you hit the Vlookup, it'll bring up this nice little interface that helps you set up the Vlookup without having to type it all up, right? I'll show you in another video how to mess around with this, because you can have this pop up like an interface to help you do like a sum ifs or a sum or an index, any type of formula really. You can work to have up here and get this graphic interface that helps it, I would say makes it a bit quicker to put down a formula, but that's for another video. Let's keep moving. So what the Vlookup formula requires is technically only 3 arguments. These 3 that are bolded: the lookup value, table array, and the column index number. The range lookup isn't necessarily needed, but I always tend to give the value for it because I like to work with exact matches. Like, I want the exact match to what I'm trying to pull, right? So we're going to get started first with the lookup value. So the lookup value is that column that both data tables share in common, right? So we know for our orders table, the customer number column is similar to our customer detail table's customer ID column. So the lookup value is always in reference to the table you want to append data to, right? So I'm going to point to C6, so my customer number for this row. I want you to look up this value, right? Now tab down to the next argument, the table array. This is where you're telling Excel, look within this array or this range of columns or columns and rows to find the lookup value first, and then bring over the detail that matches that lookup value from the second table, right? So let me show you what that means, right? So the table array for here is going to be from the customer ID. Always make sure the table array starts with the matching column, or that key column that both tables have in common. I'm going to move over to the end of the table. So now my array is going to be from M to P, right? But one thing I want you to keep in mind is, look at my cursor, right? I'm going to restart this. Look at my cursor when I hold down and I highlight another column. It's reading how many rows by how many columns are being included in the current selection, right? So when I'm highlighting from M to N, I've got 1,048,576 rows and 2 columns. If I go over one more column, that's column number 3, another one 4, another one 5, so on and so forth. Why it's important to keep track of the column numbers, not like all, you don't have to memorize them all. That's not the point. It's more so to think ahead, because the next argument is going to ask you for the column number of the detail you want to bring over, right? So beginning of this exercise, we said we want to find the city and state detail. So the city column number in this array is column 3. State, column 4. So keep these in mind, right? So for the city, we know we want column 3. For the state, we'll do column 4. So after you feed in your array, tab down, the next argument, again, the column index number. So for city, we said it's 3, and that's it, right? So go to the next argument, nothing more needed there. Here's where you don't need this, but I always say 0. I want an exact match, right? Hit enter, and that's your VLOOKUP formula. So the city, what we did here really, if we walk through the steps, is look up this customer number, right? This value, which is customer number GA7136, look it up in this array, but the first column is the column where it looks for the value, right? So find, I had the different one from the shorter video in there. Ready? So look up GA7136, and it's the first row here. So once I'm in once I find the match, right, GA7136, the array is where the lookup will look from, right? Which columns does it look between? And then the column index is the number that you want, right? The column you want. So we fed, in this case, column index 3. So from column 1 to column 2 to column 3. City is fake right here. This fake value that I typed in for trying to come up with city names in Georgia. So that's basically it. That's the VLOOKUP. Just find this common value, find it in this column, and then what row number from this first, or what column number, from this first column, what detail do you want, right? So let's double check this, right? We're going to take this formula, and to vet it again, right, let's look up TX1005. TX1005, that customer number, right? We're going to want the city. We're going to ask the VLOOKUP to do the work for us, but we're going to manually figure out what it is, so then we can determine or validate that our VLOOKUP is working correctly, right? So we want TX1005, copy that, look for it, the Control F in the customer detail tables customer ID column, right? So let's find it. So it's over here, right? Let's close this. This is the detail for TX1005. So the next thing we did once we fed the array, right, is give it the column index. So what column number do you want detail from? So we said 3. So we should get McKinney, Texas if we copy that VLOOKUP value from here and paste over here, right? So let's see if that's the case. Let me highlight McKinney in purple, right? Let's see if when we copy this VLOOKUP formula, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Oh, that's California. Well, we can check that one later. But for TX 1005, this is the correct row. We should get McKinney if I paste with the Control V. Let's see. McKinney. Alright, so that McKinney matches McKinney, which we know is what was in the customer detail table. So now let's double check this CA5067 account, since I accidentally copied the formula in there. So let's see, take this value, look up in this array, Control F to find. CA5067 is the customer number. So we're over here, CA5067. We move to the third column, 2, 3, Los Angeles. That matches. Look at that. So now the beauty of this is, yeah, we could manually look these up, right? And in a world where we're still learning, I guess that's acceptable when you first start off, right? But but then when you move on to the world where you need to be productive, you need to be able to produce, and you need simple things like this done quick. The VLOOKUP formula, ready? With the Control V, simple Control V to paste the formula, takes care of it all for us, right? So let's double check another one. Plano. So this one's Plano. So TX. Now let's look up. NJ5085, this customer number. So go from here, look up the value, NJ5085. City is Berlin. Look at that. City Berlin matches. So now we'll also take care of the state, right? So let's walk through this again. This time I'll actually type out the formula instead of using the little helper over here. So I'll type it out, right? VLOOKUP, open parentheses. The lookup value is the customer number, because that's the value that both tables share in common. Do a comma for the next argument. Then the array, where to look from, is column M, where customer ID is, all the way through the end of the table, column P, right? And then I know within that array I want the state now, right? So the state is column number, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want column number 4, type that 4 in, comma for the next argument, and I want an exact match, so I do a 0, close out my parentheses, hit enter. Oof, look at that, rookie mistake here. Typed out VLOOK. I didn't finish the formula, it's VLOOKUP. The reason I knew to look right away at that is because the error tells me hashtag name. It's saying what formula are you using here. I don't know what formula this is. This VLOOK doesn't match a formula that is built into Excel. So let me finish that up, VLOOKUP, and then that's done. So now we get the state here is Georgia, which matches with GA7136, state of Georgia, right? So let's try this customer number UT4824. We'll run through that again. So VLOOK, and then let me finish it this time. VLOOKUP over to, sorry for the whining, that's my pet Caesar. He wants to go outside and run around for a bit, but it's drizzling a little bit, so I don't want him out there. But moving on, So typed in VLOOKUP, open parentheses. Now, remember, I want to look, first is the lookup value, the value they share in common, both tables, comma for the next argument, give it the table array, right? From M to P, comma to end that argument. Then I want column number 1, 2, 3, 4 for the state. Type in 4, comma to end that argument, go with the 0, and then close that formula with the end closing parentheses, hit enter, and now we have UT is the state. So let's look this up. UT 4824. Control F for find. For find. UT 4824 is in purposes Utah. Look at that, purposes Utah. So then Control C to copy our formula, Control V to paste it in this range, and there we go. That's it. That's your VLOOKUP, right? In a nutshell. It helps you, to recap, it helps you connect in high level. It helps you connect two data tables, right? An orders table that has specific information to orders to a customer detail table that has information specific to a customer, where both tables share this common column, or what in a SQL world you call a key, right? So that's the VLOOKUP function. If you guys have any questions, if anything is unclear still, or if there's another way I could make things a bit clearer, you guys let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get to it ASAP. This is one of the first few videos I'm going to be putting up for my channel as far as like my Excel work and like analysis goes. So you guys let me know what type of stuff you want to see. I'm open to suggestions, to ideas, and I'll run with whatever you guys want to see. But again, let me know, give me some feedback, let me know what you think, if it helped. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I appreciate you taking the time out of the day to watch my video. See you guys.